Hello. The CNN is involved, recorded, confess. I can't reach them, so it's nothing personal. If they need to pretend, try to pretend things like that, and no one, everyone missed it because everyone's been hearing truths and facts used for lies, for racketeering. They, now, in other words, they're using Fareed. He's a victim, though, but a victim predator. When he has hashtag state of hate, and he talked about a study that was on whether black people were going to be equal intelligence and stuff like whatever, something like that. You know, but in other words, it's gonna make black people angry and rightfully, and especially this is what is mixed is going to make people angry too. And everyone blames the real cause of it on other things other than themselves, and this is what they're using him for. They're using him and CNN and all the media. It's not just Fareed Zakaria, or I'm not sure how to pronounce it. But this is fluent through our nations, individually grouped and together. Modern nations lost to this. So states and areas won't let anyone speak about the first part of the Quran or the first part of the Old Testament unless they're going to be, you know, not valuing it, and they're not speaking about the law. See, when the church, if someone asked to if asked to report something to the church, they'll, instead of following mandated law, they're going to try to take directions from someone next to them. So you have to understand how the branches of government originally and still recorded crime methods, crime natures individually grouped and together, each part of each branch. And then you have to understand how each branch of government individually grouped and together their crime methods. But these are completely fact sheet nature racketeering. And that was their value of their role. In other words, this is what value is really about: is identity scores. Logic is really about how sequence true. There's an order to the finite, the order to the active, the order to the progressive, and then there's identity's complete nature or volume, which will stay that way or won't. In relationship to if we have valued simultaneously, we need value for another course than you guys are allowing it to be, not by accident. You guys are involved with identity racketeering. You guys are involved with recorded, and then you use pseudoscience. You guys are involved also with, you guys are consciously about knowing your pseudoscience consciously and pretending other. And you want to debate that with overall conviction, but follow the sequence shifts. Follow your racketeering with Russian families recorded all along routes from Old Weathersfield, a whole houses on Church Street involved with you, a whole bunch of nations involved with medical racketeering acts, mail crime, wire crimes, criminal uses of U.S. UPS, criminal uses of the Obama administration, criminal uses of the election then and now with Biden. This is criminal uses of the military, like involved with all kinds of Confederate flag theme, KKK theme, pretending to be against what they're for. The sources of CNN through CCSU are recorded criminally involved with juxtaposed natures of racketeering, with branches of government and their family members individually grouped and together crime methods, exploiting also the theater of how they built the suburbs of modern nations. And this is where George Washington had to come right before the last battle of the Revolutionary War, had to leave slavery entrenched with color or avert. In other words, they had everyone a slave. Our founders didn't have free speech. That's also obligated science, but we have pseudoscientists pretending not to realize basic little things. We have knowledge being used to lie and to make roles with convictions as our each science abridged specifically for the needs for the people with the overall, the branches grouped. I mean, all together. They're also group crime predators. And individually kept needing to hide lies from presidents, kept needing to hold them to blaming the perfect world forsaken and exploited that way, for blaming the world, the perfect world exploited and forsaken that way. And these are trade center racketeering rules. Also, their motivations that led up to it. For example, were uses of a Walters family I barely know. not just for the influences of the people who influenced him to have that to use his wedding for racketeering. I don't know him too, by the way. I barely know him. And that's and what the only context I know him in are all recorded tied to his roles with my new and past neighbors with various natures of racketeering with the real estate companies and with the Dillon family and with the Kerr family and with misspellings of names and with forging names and switching names and with a whole bunch of state police families tied to them and houses around parks and houses around schools, intercities tied to each of the houses around schools in my town involved with racketeering, like with the Leahy family, forged names of doctors, pretending conversations with me. These are people using rights to lie. Like, for example, they're using gun crimes, wire crimes, threats, bug spray, knife crime threats. Now, these are people before I ever lived in Covington Street in New Britain. They were already recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, sought me out to do it as strangers because they were involved with sequence shifts, being coached to pretend things by courts. They use them criminally. They use depositions criminally. They use former director of the FBI down in his private defending capacities with a Charlie LeConte, his daughter, Adon LeConte, and a whole bunch of people tied to her who are further involved with all kinds of natures of racketeering on off Trinity College, on off CCSU, and with Russians, no, and with cliques that are Cuban themed. Now, these are medical racketeering cliques also. They have recorded uses of triages where they're forging names, switching names, preventing people from countering threats and violence, lying about what is actually recorded over the phone. Now, these are also criminal uses of election spots with the Russians and the Americans, and they have fire departments also involved with this, and all kinds of natures of racketeering uses of AT&T since those people were kids. Now, what's their narrative? Oh, but I was trying to just be a career person. No, I. These are people I don't know, like the Spada family, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, involved with intercampuses with some men and women, with probate courts, with judges who are also with New Britain Superior Court, with judges retired and standing, and judges on off the state judicial branch offices involved with racketeering of juxtaposed natures with child sex offenders' families already proven. But these are, and even if that was made up, they're already recorded further involved with other natures of racketeering, sexual, medical, and identity thefts. Now, see, this is also recorded having been exploiting in the suburbs. If you walk for a mile, you're just going to see all homes. Most people aren't going to be even outside other time if they're doing something. This is like a theater. You can, and they know where everyone's going. You see people with, in other words, you don't know half the people in your own grade, and the people that they're pretending kids to fake locations, while the whole time they've been racketeering methods individually grouped and together. Methods missed, but recorded. So they have to hide what they did with the areas. They have to hide when they speak about how they have to hide physical delusions, criminally foreign influence premises treatments, criminally foreign influence sequence treatments, and they're actually recorded natures. Our branches of government all tied to them when they speak about freedom, because we have a recorded forced with the fact, cheating nature, torture, and slavery of our founders, the identity thefts of our founders that they wanted us to speak about. We have it forced glorified. So, and they need to debate this. The only way they can get away with it, they have to keep lying every time. When I talk, they keep having to adapt. So you have to understand the nature of the racketeering associated with former director of the FBI, also involved with sequence racketeering uses of CNN sources with child trafficking, human trafficking, and with racketeering with people from the Trade Center attack and intercities, and as the investigators with further Trade Center predicate acts, with the fake conversations they attach me to, and fake ties to doctors, forging names too, foreign and domestic ones. Now, this is also then recorded sickly, criminally, consciously, pretending to care against things like prejudice and racism and against people they don't even know. These are people involved with database racketeering, Oh, that's no, it wouldn't be in here if it's not true. They know it's not true. That's recorded too. They're forging names and switching names into branch. Now, these are further war crimes with Kuwaiti military, with uses of Saudis that don't even understand it because of how their Saudis were in collusion with what is keeping, like, for example, you're in collusion, Fareed, CNN, when you guys talk about oh, this is a study. You need to base things on reality. So when people can't, you have to have teach in the conversation. Maybe you need to tell them, oh, well, this is research. So to learn and get the right answer, you do it this way. But there are exceptions to that. You don't need any research to see that all the experts, like for example, the guy involved with the study you quoted on his research, well, you think the black people can fit with the education? He's delusions wrought. That studies delusions wrought and criminally foreign influence. Science reveals the real causes of negative value, nature, progressions, acts, and natures. Doesn't blame predicate acts causes on groups wrong. Those groups were propagated and exploited for the other natures of racketeering recorded and involved here with Fox Connecticut News, the buildings next to them, a whole bunch of names. They also recorded consciously name stacking. And they're also, in other words, then what do you sound like trying to talk? You're trying to say, fix the fucking fake words and ties to me, and have them pick one name and sequence into branch with the child offenders, further inter schools, and in my town, inter campuses connected, and further inter cities as these ones too, tied to Justice Department racketeering, tied to racketeering uses of the military, not by accident, right through generation, right leading up to and in the Trade Center attack context, and since it. Whole bunch of people with West Hartford recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with this. Racketeering also uses of a woman named O'Neill and her kids. They use her kids, also with prosecutors using their kids, with judges using their kids for racketeering, attaching other kids and their families to fake locations, fake ties to people, like a Joshua Julian also reported with them using Facebook interbranch, their own Facebook pages for sexual, medical, and judicial racketeering with child sex offenders. You have sick motherfuckers here I need to take out. And excuse my language. Now, see, we have medical racketeering here juxtaposed. It's not just, oh, that's a sexual crime, so then they're going to pull a guy in there, real or made up. That guy already confessed, recorded, and demonstrated. He's involved with racketeering also with the AT&T that raised people with the FBI involved with this, and with the media, with the military, and with the media involved with the Spada family. I never had anything to do with. They had little girls come seek me out with confessions. Now they had a whole bunch of boyfriends at once. Just one of them, and then there are a whole bunch of sisters and a brother and their parents, and the mother's long, deeply entrenched, were involved with the WTNH also, with all kinds of natures of racketeering roles with on-off Yale College, on-off medical campuses, on-off the New Haven FBI, on-off the policing of clubs, on-off the training of police, like downtown Hartford. And this is also downtown Hartford interbranch involved with racketeering at the spots at the end of the Broad Turnpike and with a house on my area at the end of my street. Now I barely know the Mike Violet, also recorded, demonstrated, confessed, also with a Eric Jensen, recorded, confessed, demonstrated, involved with racketeering with medical, foreign, and domestic with child offenders in my area, and with CIA families associated with one of the families involved. With attaching me to fake locations, fake ties to his extended family members, just because they were in my grade. I didn't hang around with him and his friends. Any context that was other, they had to lie about. Even they had a whole bunch of friends in my grade I don't even know the names of, and his cousins involved with this. The Scalora family is all, and those are people involved also with racketeering with it leading up to winning the Trade Center. And these are sexual circles with the people that work in the Trade Center, per their confessions from strangers that then they exploited too. These are people involved with a whole bunch of real estate companies, involved with judges, with the police, and with their sheriffs, with their mother of a sheriff, the whole and people on off the where the police station is now, on off where it was before. Note there's a Korean place, a Taekwondo place. I'm on your guys' side. Korea, nothing is good war, and that's what. See, they need a racketeering. They need to keep you guys. They have psychology with you guys. These are a whole bunch of medical racketeering cliques and database racketeering cliques. Now, there's a Joe DeMoro, also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with other overt criminal enterprises and acts with them and with databases and with judges and we see this is the executive branch criminally whole crime methods individually grouped together, and then they're grouped. The judicial branch is also individually grouped together. All the individuals with them originally and still criminally foreign influence, delusions wrought, victim predators, but high predators, even offensively, because of how they're using vertical and horizontal database racketeering, that they're maintaining the kids needed to self-value what is simple but just extensive, that is capable of correlation nature with sequence true, with the order of the finite true, with the order of the active true, with the order of the progressive true at the same time, identity complete true. And that stay true because we are simultaneously, as each individual is a complete identity of nature of volume, as an identity of volume. That's why we are simultaneously semi-nature with group, areas, sexes, ages, no color. See, the value of that is to discern where and how our nature as value and value as nature simultaneously, distinctly and non-distinctly, by a semi-nature that is also another semi-nature with that equal, and is also one, the value of those three semi-natures in relationship to themselves at once. Boxings to campus dance. So for Zakaria, please don't go on with the election when you guys know you guys are obligated to fix that, and we got to go back.